Good evening, race fans. Welcome to Firenze, Italy. And I'll just start off the broadcast by apologizing to all the European fans out there, all the kids taking Italian lessons, anything else, because I'm about to butcher a lot of names out here tonight. But we are in Italy for round number 6 of the CSRL GT series, and we've had a good first 5 rounds, but we are now rounding into the second half of the schedule, and gone are the tracks like Spa, Nürburgring, and NR. Some of the new ones here, and some of the ones that these guys may not have excuse me, too much experience on. And tonight being one of them, we are at the Autodromo Internazionale del Mugello, and it is one, if you like S-turns, this is the right place for you. And it's got plenty of S-turns. I'll go through them here in a bit. And the big thing, though, is one big, long straightaway that there's going to be plenty of high speeds. And we'll hop on board with some of these guys and see what kind of speeds they are doing by the time they get down to the first corner, San Donato, as it's got to be one of the longest straightaways on a circuit that we're going to go to, and maybe one of the longest in road racing. But it is the Grand Prix course here that we're running tonight, and should be a good one. Carl Hamrick joining the booth tonight with Joe Sullivan. Joe, welcome to another live broadcast here for CSRL. Going to be a good one here, and I know this is a newer track, and I know you had a little bit of time just testing this thing out, but welcome to Mugello.
Yeah, it's I'm sitting here looking at these scenes and this glorious mountains in the background. I mean, what a great place for a racetrack. You know, I'm a big fan of mountains, and you put a racetrack next to some mountains, and it's almost a heaven for a guy like me. And this track, I've gotten to get some laps in it, and it's quite a fun little track. I mean, it's got, just like you said, about everything you want here. You got the long straightaway, and then you got these S turns and some tight turns, some fast turns. So it's going to be an interesting race here tonight, and see what these boys can do here. As you know, they always put on a show. So and you get a track like this and these cool temperatures, and let's see if they can put on a show for us here tonight.
Yeah, as I mentioned, a lot of S turns here at this track, but they're all unique in their themselves. You see the red line in the middle. This is a clockwise track, so they'll head down that very, very long straightaway. It is a 3.2 mile track, so I would say probably a good mile of that is that long straightaway heading into turn number 1, known as San Donato. Then they will head into the first left-right S-turn with Luco and Pogiaseco. I'm just gonna go ahead and just flow through these, because I mean I'm gonna probably screw up every one of them, but it makes for a good fun broadcast. But after that, they'll head into the second left-right chicane and or left-right S-turn with Matarassi and Borgo San Lorenzo, and then they'll go into a right-left S-turn. As you can see, there's a little bit of a theme building here. A lot of S-turns, like I said, but Casanova is the first right-hander to enter that third S-turn, and you can take it a little bit faster, but really you want to set up to the right-hand side, coming out of that as much as possible, to take you through Savelli, the one that leads you back to the left, because it's a bit off camber coming through there, coming back to the left, and again, you're trying to get as much speed out of there as possible to take you into Arrabbiata 1 and Arrabbiata 2, the two right-handers back to back there. A real fast section of the track that you see on the right-hand corner of the track map before you head into, surprise, surprise, another S-turn. This one right-left with Scarperia and Pelagio. And then you'll head into the second of 3 hairpin turns. Another theme here for the track. Hairpins and S-turns is pretty much all it has here at Mugello. But the second hairpin, again, it feels like you can take it faster than what you should be, but you really need to focus on getting out of there and getting the exit done. That is Corintau, and it'll head you into the fastest S-turn on the track, and almost like a little chicane in Biondetti 1 and Biondetti 2 before it heads you into the final hairpin, and probably the most important hairpin on the entire track, maybe the most important turn period on the entire track, because it heads you into that long, not sure if I mentioned it, but it's long straightaway heading down to the start-finish line. And starting and finishing your lap there. It is a very, very long straightaway. I can't say it enough, but it is, again, it's going to be very important for these guys to get out of that final hairpin to set you up for that run to the start-finish line, and really, you know, obviously going to be your best passing opportunity going into turn one, because you'll have all that time to get every bit of speed out of your car to get a draft done, get a pass done, get some late braking done into the hairpin of San Donato. But I mean, this thing, again, it offers a lot. There's a lot of high speed areas here, so you know, your high speed cars like your Ferraris, you know, your Porsches are probably going to be predominant, but you have, like I mentioned, I believe it's 5 S-turns that you're going to be going through here, so you need a car that's going to be a little bit, you know, planted, going left and right, back and forth, and you know, there's a lot of cars like the Ferrari can be nimble and good for some, you know, some quick S-turns, but when you have the flowy kind of, you know, long left and then long right, it's when you kind of upset that back end a little bit that it could be potential of a problem. But I'm sure these guys here at CSRL are ready for it. I'm sure they got some practice in if they haven't touched a track before. But it's going to be a good one here tonight. As usual, 40 minutes on tap. And Joe, you know as well as I do, it's 40 minutes of just packed full of fun.
Yeah, it's a 40 minutes in real time, but it's I mean, it feels like it's a 20-minute, you know, sprint race. I mean, there's so much action on the track. I mean, we got 25 cars here tonight, and between the pro class, the AM class, I mean, there's going to be battles everywhere. And I'm excited to see a race happen here. I mean, this is my first time obviously being here and getting a couple laps on here, but I'm excited to see what kind of action this track can do, and with these drivers that always put on a show every week. So be interesting to see who sets up and you know, makes a run on that last turn to try to get some passing done going down this I think you mentioned it was a long straightaway.
It is. It's a little long.
Right?
It's just a little bit long.
Okay.
Yes. No,
it's this long straightaway, and see you know, drafting. I love drafting, so we'll see if they can get some drafting done going down this front stretch and setting up some passes into this turn one, and you know, kind of, it seems like that's where the majority of the passes will be, but you know, we'll see how this thing shakes out for everybody, and see if they can't see who's gonna come away with some wins here tonight.
Well, we are all done with qualifying here, and we'll bring up the results. And it is going to be Craig Jancic on the pole by .056 over Colin Winslow. Siviani Madrigal in third, Peter Muller, Herbert Pineda, Jonathan Neal, Devin Young, Frank Bassano, and Morgan Smith going to round out and Di Marrera going to round out your top 10. And then looking down through the rest of the order for the pro class is going to be Randy Ayers, Skyler Vickroy, Brandon Powell, and AJ Roderick. 14 cars tonight for the pro class. Over in the AM class, it is going to be Christian Ortiz Torres on the pole. Bryce Rayner is going to be, Reiner going to be starting there in second place, and we've seen plenty of speed out of him the couple weeks that he's been in the series here. Nicholas Coates in third, William Burrell, Todd Torville going to round out your top 5. Then you got Jim Herrick, Carlos Rodriguez, Brandon Potts, Stephen Price, Ian Wilson going to round out the top 10, and then only 11 cars here tonight in the AM class. It's going to be rounded out there by Jay Little, but pretty much everybody, double check here, looks like everybody actually gets a time in other than AJ Roderick. One slacker in the field here tonight, but I'm sure we'll see AJ try and work his way up through the field, but I'd say a lighter field here maybe, but 25 cars is still a really good size field here for the boys at CSRL, and they're off and pacing right now. But before we get down there and get this thing underway, we'll take a look at the point standings heading into tonight. And as it just pops up my screen, there we go. And it is led on the pro side by Peter Muller by a big old 2 points. 2 points separating him from Craig Jancic and Siviani Madrigal, both tied for second place. Colin Winslow in fourth place. Then you got Devin Young, Skyler Vickroy rounding out the top 6. Over in the AM class, Bryce Reiner and John Nominger tied for the top spot, as they are 4 points ahead of Christian Ortiz Torres in third, Antonio Avendano Diaz in fourth, and then Carlos Rodriguez rounding out your top 5. But Nominger not in the picture here tonight. He had some prior engagements, aka work that has pulled him away from the race here tonight. Not too happy about it, but no offense to the boys here at CSRL, but the work pays more. So I understand them missing here tonight, but good sized field out here tonight, and we'll see these guys do battle here in just a moment. But I'd say what of any track that you need to get a good start, but you kind of don't here at Mugello. I mean, it's almost like you want to think on the oval side, a track like Talladega or Daytona, where you don't necessarily want to get a good start because you're going to have so much time to be drafting and so much time to get inside of each other, and really the opportunity to go 2, 3, 4 wide is a possibility in turn 1. I don't recommend it, but I wouldn't doubt that we see it.
So that's what I was going to mention. I think you want to be easy here, especially with this, the speeds are going to be carrying going into turn 1, even on this, the opening lap here, and if there's any problems in races with all these cars bunched up together right now, it's going to be that turn 1, especially in a tight, right-hander like that. So you may want to just, like you said, treat it like a plate track and just chill for a second and let everything go, and then go and see what you can get. But because you're better off missing the wreck if there is one than trying to push and gain a spot or two and then be in the middle of it and be in the middle of that hornet's nest if there is one.
Just want to send a thank you out to our series sponsor out here, and that being Skyler Vickroy over there. And if you want to ride along board with the 28 and see what he sees behind the wheel here of his Corvette at the Autodromo del Mugello, check him out over there at youtube.com/@AVOVOOM Gaming, or you can check him out over on his Twitch channel, which is his Twitch channel AVOVOOM as well over there, to see what it's like behind the Corvette here tonight. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what kind of, what car, what make gets up to the front here tonight, because we got an eclectic bunch of cars. We certainly see the Porsches out here in full force like normal, but I mean, you got at the front of the field here, Craig Jancic and an Audi. You got a Lamborghini up there in the top 3, Ferrari in the top 5, another Audi. You got obviously the Corvette, the BMW out there. You look down in the M class, you got the Nicholas Cote in the Mustang. So a little bit of everything, even Ian Wilson back there in his McLaren. So a lot of different makes and models out here represented, and we're about to see which one rises to the top. We are getting ready to send these boys off into turn number 1. The pace car is in, and we'll take a look up here at Craig Jancic and Colin Winslow on the front of this field, waiting for Barney to wave the green flag, and we are racing at Mugello.
And that fan out already going down this straightaway. So you're going to get this. Oh man, they're going to be 4 wide. Holy moly, look at this.
Yeah, already bunching up, and you see it's just about 100 cars coming in turn 1, but it is going to still be side by side. Craig Jancic and Colin Winslow heading off into turn 1. Looks like everyone is going to survive turn 1, but now where it gets a little crazy into the first S is still side by side. Winslow not letting him go, and he's got reasons for it. He's got reservations for 1 at the front. Now Jancic had to pull out there and block Siviani Madrigal from making a run there. But Winslow to the front of this field right away, and already trying to check out. He knows Jancic, once he gets in there and comfortable, is when he starts to check out. Looks like a little bit of an incident back here for Dan Morera as he gets off the track just a little bit sideways. A little brush on the wall, doesn't look too bad there. Still a good looking Corvette there, but unfortunately for him, he had to wait for the entire field to go by before he rejoined. But great start here for the 19 of Colin Winslow, Jancic, Madrigal, Peter Muller, and Jonathan Neal, your top 5 in the Pro class. Over in the M, already Bryce Reiner up at the front of the field, and he's got Ortiz Torres in second place, a couple cars in between them. Christian Ortiz Torres in second place, William Burrell, Nicholas Cote, Jim Herrick, and Brandon Potts in your top 6 over there in the M class. But all in all, pretty good start. This right here, just a fantastic view. They're looking at the fastest chicane there on the track with the mountains in the background. Like you said, it reminds me a little bit of Red Bull Ring with the mountains in the back. Just, I'm looking around here. I'm not finding the bull. I'm not finding the bull statues. Other than that, good first lap as Winslow has the lead, but now we get a first chance to look at the draft. Coming down into turn 1, Jansen pulls out to the outside. Winslow covers off the inside, and looked like Jansen maybe was going to try and make the same move, come around the outside and force some too wide racing through the S, but it is going to still be Winslow at the front.
Yeah, I look like Craig was maybe going to take that wide entry and see if he can't do something with it, but just didn't have enough there. And with that tight left-hander coming right after that is not a good spot to get any kind of passes done, but maybe he's just feeling things out here and they're right behind Colin and see what Colin has to offer and see if he can't find some kind of line that may work later in this race. That's a tough break for Dan. I mean, Dan qualified, 10th, and then and that's what the big problem I had with the Corvette was it took like a little bit for those rear tires to get some heat in them, and it was just really loose, and you get on the throttle a little bit too much, and around she goes. I think that's what happened to Dan Rare there. It's fortunate for him, but he's able to keep it going, and he's already been to the back of this field, so not the start he wanted, but he's still rolling, and see if he can't come up through this field.
Dorval was in a bit of a battle there with the Pro Division driver of Brandon Powell, but now he's got to look in his mirrors, and a big move there to the inside as let's see who's behind there. Looks like Carlos Rodriguez goes the inside of Brandon Potts, and looks like he is going to take that position away. So Potts has been falling back here a little bit. Got a good start, but now has lost those positions right back, and now another dive to the inside as AJ Roderick trying to come up through the field again, the only one that did not qualify here tonight. So even though he's in the pro class, these drivers don't line up by their class. They line up by their overall qualifying time. That's why we seen last week Bryce Weiner actually had the overall pole, and he started in at the front of the field. So, you know, for AJ Roderick here, starts all the way shotgun on the field. He's got to get through all these AM class drivers before he can start making up some positions. Obviously, I already gifted the position there by Dan Marrera on the first couple laps, but still going to make his way through this field, and that could be a daunting task here with only a 40-minute race.
Yeah, and you know, like we said, limited spots here to get some passing done, so he's got a tall task, but it didn't seem like he had too much. Oh, who's 17?
Yeah, that was Nicholas Cote going around there, and kind of same situation, just a little bit too much throttle coming out of the corner. Going to rejoin here, but one of the two Mustangs here in the field, we just got done looking at AJ Roderick and the other Mustang. But out front, it is still Colin Winslow as he is controlling the pace out here. Craig Jansick right behind him, taking a look here to the inside. But it is still going to be the 19 out front. Madrigal right there. A bit of a three-car, maybe even a four-car breakaway there with Peter Moeller kind of hanging in there yet. And then you got to look a little bit of ways back to Jonathan Neal and Herbert Pineda. And both those guys have shown some speed as well. You just kind of, you know, maybe 1A, if you want to consider it that way. You know, these guys, it's been kind of these same 3 or 4 guys breaking away in a lot of these fields this year. But, you know, Neal, Pineda, even Devin Young have shown their speed. And I'm afraid to show him on screen. But, I mean, maybe like by the time we show him on screen, he's usually already made an error, and we're showing him because he's had an error. So while the 14 here of Frank Pisano is clean, let's go and get him some TV time. You know, Frank is one of those. He's been in the Audi now, I believe, for the entire season. And again, he's another one he's got speed. He's easily got speed to finish in the top 10, and sometimes, you know, threat for a top 5, but just, you know, some errors here and there, you know, have set him back here race after race, and hopefully he can finally get a grip on that Audi here tonight at Mugello and get a good finish under his belt.
Yeah, I think it was the first season we broadcasted. I think he got a couple podiums. I remember talking to him after the races, and I know he posted a couple videos of him racing back in the day, go-kart stuff, and had some of these road courses, and just you know, just a guy out here having fun, you know, just having a blast with these kids, you know, these guys, and seeing what he can do, and just a guy who loves racing. Whether probably doesn't really care that he wins or not, but just likes being out here and turning some laps.
You see the battles on track have all kind of settled down here a little bit, as it is Actually, it looks like we missed one incident here. This is Stefan Price right in front of Dan Morera here at the back of the field. But backs it up off the track and gets back going. That's why you see his a bit further down the bunching order here. But again, most of the battles have kind of evened out right here. But down the front stretch again, and Joe, this is a long front stretch.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be some good runs coming. We got a good run here from Craig.
Using the draft and going to the outside here. Again, Winslow protects that inside and rotates that Porsche through, but the Audi of Jancic fighting back here side by side, but Winslow's still going to cover it off, and you see that Audi is got some power, got some grunt down that front stretch, and with help from the draft, he's able to pull alongside now a couple times in a row, but just not enough to get that thing rotated through, and that brings the Lamborghini of Madrigal right up here in the mix. Takes a look out there, fancies a chance, but falls back in line. And all this battling right here is allowing Peter Muller to just kind of hang right in there, keep right in tow with these boys in 4th place. Again, back here in 5th. Car may look a little rough. It may look like he just got out the barn, but it's still running pretty fast here for Jonathan Neal in the top 5. And then right behind him, Herbert Pineda and Devin Young are keeping in tow as the front 7 have stretched out here a little bit on our man Frank Bassano, and then our sponsor here in the series, Skyler Vickroy, over there in the AVOVOOM number 28. That is your top 9 here in the pro class. Right behind 9th place is 10th place overall, but 1st place in the AM class, that is Bryce Reiner, as he's got about a 3-second gap now over Christian Ortiz Torres, who has got a couple pro class cars in between him. William Burrell, you got to look back a little bit further as the first 2 and the pro class stretching out here a little bit. And Burrell in 3rd, right behind him, Jim Herrick. And then a couple cars back is Todd Torville. So good run here for Torville and for Herrick. Herrick certainly needs a good finish. He's due, and it feels like left and right it become the tracks that maybe just don't fancy his eye.
Yeah, it seems like this season we got Craig going again, but the season hasn't really been Jim's season compared to last year when he had a shot for the AM Class Championship. But we still got plenty of time here. We're just on race 6. We still got half the season left. So I'm sitting here watching this battle. It's like, oh,
Craig is going to force the issue, get around there, and now here comes Madrigal. Thought about the inside, but not going to happen. Now all 4 cars under a blanket. Madrigal trying to get a good run out, but it is going to be Jancic out to the front now. We'll see if Winslow can keep it close enough to the number 3 and see if he can get himself a run down the front stretch and maybe make a pass on his own. But it was a good but risky pass there on the outside by Jancic, and we'll take a look at how that all transpired one more time here down the front stretch. Again, gets a good draft, good run side by side once again. But this time you see has a little edge going into turn number 1 and does not back down this time. Stays on the outside, just has enough of a fender there to make Winslow give him room on the inside. And it's kind of just, hang on for these first couple corners. And all of a sudden now he has the inside for the second S-turn right here. And that's where he gets it done, but only just. I mean, you see right here, he tries to give Winslow as much room as possible. You see a little clip of the inside there, and that's all it took for the pass. But we've got another issue here. Or Rayner trying to get up there, trying to get into 9th, and it was your leader here in the AM class. But once again, Reiner puts himself behind the 8 ball, and now not only did he not move into 9th place overall, but he has fallen back to 17th overall and 5th place in the AM class. So he's got some work to do here once again tonight.
He does not make it easy on himself sometimes. Just one little mistake like that, and you're just right on the edge of out of control. Kind of steal a line from David Thunder, but he's right on that line, and just unfortunate to make a mistake like that. But hopefully it happened earlier enough here to give himself some time to be able to come back and see if he can't get back and at least make a podium or He may have enough speed to come back and win this thing. He's that way, you know. So he's definitely got the speed to be able to do it. Let's see if he can't come back up and try to get into the podium or maybe get a win here tonight.
So back up here at the front, Jancic now stretching out to about a 6.5 of a second lead. And if Winslow wants to have any kind of shot at getting back at him, he's got to get that thing under a half a second and maybe under, you know, closer to a quarter second heading onto that front stretch. But right now, having trouble keeping up with that Audi out front. Maybe has to do a little mirror driving back there with Madrigal all over the backside. But Jansen going to come out of the final corner. 0.7 of a second is the lead. And now we'll keep an eye on the times here as they come on the front stretch to see how much that draft, how much it pays off. And you see it already starting to come down here just a little bit, but Winslow's so far back that he's not getting as much draft as he needs. He gains about maybe a tenth and a half on the front stretch, but it's not enough to even smell an opportunity.
Yeah, I would say it'd be interesting to see if now that Craig's got around Colin to see if he can extend this a little bit and see what kind of pace he has. Maybe he was just riding back there and trying to set up that pass that he eventually got done there on Colin. But it looked like Simeone wanted to try to get around Colin there when all that happened, but he just didn't quite have enough, and now they're kind of getting spread out a little bit here. So we still have pit stops to come and see who can navigate that the best, as we've seen multiple times this season, where the leader coming into the pits is not going to be your leader coming out of the pits.
You're telling me pit stops actually mean something?
That's what we were talking about. It's this pit entry seems a whole lot easier than the last couple of weeks that these boys have had to do. It's not as long and it's not as tricky to enter. So I guess less mistakes to be made here. So maybe nothing will change when the pit cycle comes, but maybe not. We'll just have to see and see who can get in and off.
Well, the thing is, less mistakes to be made, but more of an opportunity, if you want to look at it that way, because you got to try and take advantage of as much speed as possible. You'll see him coming onto the front stretch right here, and right there is the pit entry on the right-hand side. Just a little, mini turn there, a little mini chicane heading into the pits, but you want to come off there and get to that yellow cone as quick as possible. And then same thing when you're leaving that pits, you want to, drop the hammer and get off that pit road limiter as quick as possible to get you down into turn number one, because whether you pit first or second, your competitor is going to be flying down that front stretch trying to take that position away from you. So you gotta still hit your marks, hit your points. It's not tricky to get into, but just like any other thing, you want to try and maximize as much speed and cut down as much time as possible, both in and out of the pits.
Yeah, like you said, there's still time to be made on somebody if somebody gets caught, lollygagging, or locking up brakes, or not, getting up speed off pit road as they need to be. And then, like you said, as soon as you come off pit road, there's turn one, and then you're looking at your relative, and you can see who's coming or not coming, and definitely can influence you one way or the other. So it's still going to be pretty important, but just from the last 2 weeks, it's going to be not as tricky or as long. So, but still, time to be made or lost on the pit road cycle here.
I don't think Craig is lollygagging at the front here at all, but even if he was, he doesn't have time to. He's got Jancic right on his bumper still. I'm sorry, Winslow right on his bumper, and Madrigal right back there as well. And the lead is not going anywhere as Winslow maybe getting an idea of how to drive his car, how to drive that Porsche in the dirty air. Certainly getting a better lap this time by, as now coming down the front stretch, instead of being at 0.7 of a second, it was at 0.4 of a second. You see Jancic maybe weaving around here a little bit, trying to break that toe. Well, you see that time clipping down. It's not going to be close enough yet for Winslow, but certainly a lot closer heading into turn one this time by.
And Simeone's probably wishing he was still behind Craig, because he's probably got a little bit more of a draft than this little bitty tiny Porsche than he was from Craig. I don't know how much that plays into it, but I mean, you can just tell by the size of the cars. I mean, and then the bigger the car, the more wind you can get in behind it. So Colin is he's all over that curve right there.
Yeah, it seems like the Porsches, whether the Porsche likes it more or you know, Winslow's just forcing it in there. He's taking a lot more curve. He's getting through those S turns a lot, you know, more to the inside and rolling through there. And that's where he's gaining a lot of his time back. And once he gets to the faster sections, is where he loses a little bit of time towards the second half of this lap. And you know, right in through here, all the way through the final hairpin was where he's been losing a little bit of time getting out of these corners, but certainly going through those S's, going through the first portion of the lap is where he's gaining some time. He's got to stick with Craig through this back half, and especially coming out of this last S turn, or the last hairpin right here. He seems to always be losing time right there, going through the S's, and already out there to about a half a second now, heading into the final hairpin.
Yeah, that's a fast section right there, and I probably could have been taking it a lot faster than I was, but just trying to get the feel for this track, it's probably just a full speed. You're not even, you know, lifting it or anything through that section right there until you get to this big left-hander to come down to the front stretch here. There's just so much speed and carry through there, and if you don't hit it right, you could lose a tenth or two like immediately.
Madrigal just hanging right in there and hasn't made a move yet. Maybe just sitting back there and doing what he does best, just saving a little bit of fuel possibly, because it seems like you know, every time we watch him, he's getting maybe one extra lap, maybe two extra laps compared to everybody else, and taking a little bit longer. So it could be what he's doing right now. He's not forcing any kind of issues, saving those tires for the second half of the race. And of course, now that I mentioned him, now that we have him on camera, is the biggest gap that's been in between second and third all night. But Peter Moeller still hanging on to these guys, as is Jonathan Neal, who's starting to reel in Moeller here just a little bit, and Herbert Grenada still hanging right there. Well, your top 8 right now, or I'm sorry, top 7, all still within you know, within seeing distance. They can still see the leaders here, and Frank Pisano back there in 8th place is still hanging right there, and you see right there coming to your screen, Skyler Vickroy. The top 9 all within 14 seconds of the leader, and then you got another 3 seconds back to Randy Ayers, who I've really talked about the last couple of weeks, and it just hasn't been maybe tracks again that fit his eye these last couple of weeks, and here again, back here in 10th place, but it, you know, hasn't been the start of his pro career that he'd probably like to see after having a very nice dominating run in the M class.
No, but I think overall, I mean, he did miss that one race. Something popped up. But I think overall, I mean, he's 8th in points in the pro class. I mean, on that standpoint, you know, maybe he's not getting the results that he wants, as you know, that he was used to last year. But I mean, to come in and with the pros here, I mean, because he was top 5 a couple times last year, flirting with top 5s overall. So, and like I said, it could be the schedule deal, you know. Some of these tracks that just fit these guys' styles so much, and I think, you know, if he'd come away somewhere around top 5 in the pro class this for the whole season, I think he'd be pretty pumped with that.
Good look back here at Bryce Reiner, who has made his way back up to 13th overall, but more importantly, 3rd overall in the AM class, as he is right behind William Burrell trying to take over 2nd place, and that would be already a nice comeback here. Already halfway through this race, coming up on minute number 21 here, but Reiner trying to do some damage control yet again, and especially with Nominger not being here tonight, this is his chance to really capitalize and gain some points. These guys do have the drop race, so you know, not going to hurt Nominger possibly too bad, but you know, certainly for Reiner, he wants to capitalize and try not to have a bad race that he has to drop off of his total there. And he's doing it to himself week in and week out. I mean, he's got the speed. He's got the speed to hang with a lot of these pro guys and possibly finish top 5 overall week in and week out. But it's one little mistake here or there, or maybe 2 little mistakes. We've seen it a couple times now, and pretty much in each race he's had one moment or two. I'm not sure if it's not feeling the car or just pushing a little bit too hard. I tend to think it's the latter. It seems like anytime we see him making a mistake, and we see last week in the at the Rebel GP, coming out of the final corner, pushing hard to try and get the lead there in the beginning from Jancic, and goes off the track and loses it. Now here, he was pushing, trying to get 9th place overall. Again, not a battle for position, just a battle with a pro class driver, and pushed a little bit too hard and sent it off the track.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's, I don't know how much experience he has overall in racing, but those are like, you know, quote unquote rookie mistakes, or, you know, the fast rookie comes in and it's got speed, but he makes these, you know, rookie mistakes from time to time, and once he gets that figured out and eliminates those from his races, look out, guys. I mean, and he's only going to get faster once he gets more comfortable with this and everything, and he'll surely probably be in the pro class next season, whether he wins the championship or not, but he'll probably get bumped up regardless, just how much speed he has. But on the flip side of that, Christian Torres, I mean, he's in the lead right now, and he's got Reiner behind him, who's in front of him in the point standing. So it's a good night for him to take advantage of that, take advantage of Bryce's mistakes here, and see if he can't cut into that point lead just a little bit. And Christian is like the Siviani of the pro class, where he's just smooth and just lets the race come to him, and he's already got a win under his belt this season, so in the M class, and you know, he's got another chance here tonight.
Yeah, and Ortiz Torres is one of those where you very seldom do you see him out there and driving and feel like he's got the fastest car in the class. But more often than not, he's right there and ready to grab a podium from anybody that makes any kind of mistakes, and never really forces himself into mistakes. And it's what wins you championships. I mean, you win your championships on your bad nights, and not having too many bad nights. And you know, very seldom do we see that number 11 outside the top 5, and more often than not, he's up there in the top 3, and that's why he's still up there in the points stand. There's only one win on the season, but it's consistency that's keeping him up there, and it's got him in there with a shot at the championship in the second half of the season. But we already have a pit stop starting here. A couple of the pro drivers, Jonathan Neal, Morgan Smith, already in the pits, and quite a few of the amateur drivers in pit road as well. But the last lap by, the leaders running their fastest laps of the race. So fuel's starting to burn off here. These drivers starting to get a little more comfortable in the track conditions here, and really starting to rip it off. And Jancic starting to stretch out here just a little bit more, getting closer to a 1 second lead here over Winslow. And Winslow doing the same thing. He's about a second ahead now on Madrigal, so this top 3 stretching out here a little bit. And Peter Moller.
I just seen it in the background of the screen, and
right there gets loose going into the double right-hander, and unfortunately he's right in the middle of the track. Tries to get off the track, but right there is Herbert Pineda. Hard impact right there as Pineda T-bones him. I'm sure both those guys will be coming in this time for their pit stop, but actually Peter Muller and Herbert Pineda both towed back into the pits, so that's going to be the end of the night for them. And that was a shame. Both are running in the top 5 here tonight. Ortiz Torres now is going to be heading into pit lane here, and first top 5 taker here for pit lane in the AM class. And here comes Rayner, and of course it's Marvel Camera Views coming in the pits here, but Rayner, Al, Herrick all coming in the pits right behind. But your leaders here, Jancic, Winslow, and Madrigal all staying out here. Now it's only a 3-car breakaway, as they've got 7 seconds now in between 3rd and 4th. So, I mean, unless somebody makes a mistake, the podium is set here for the pro class.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Royal wreck there for Moeller and Pineda. Moeller just trying to, I mean, he's sideways in the track there, just trying to get out of the way, and Pineda had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's Moeller's kind of in one of those, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't spots. He's directly in the middle of the track, completely sideways in a section of the track where he's kind of right in the racing lane in the middle. So He probably tried to do the quickest thing and get off the track as quick as possible, but unfortunately Pineda was already there and getting T-boned, and both cars heavily damaged. But I get, as we got our first taker into pit lane, Craig Jancic in there, but Winslow and Madrigal are going to stay on the track and see if they can use the overcut to get around Jancic. But Muller is kind of the Ortiz Torres of the pro class. Every once in a while you'll see he's got some good speed, but more often than not, he's there. He's there like a little gnat flying around in second, third place, and grabbing those podiums, racking them up, and it's why he's got the points lead coming in. But certainly tonight is not going to be a points night. It's going to have to be a throwaway night for the number 9917.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be his second throwaway night. So if he wants to keep in contention for this points championship, he's going to have to rack up some podiums the second half of this season to try to keep pace with guys like Colin and Craig and Siviani, as they were the top four coming into points. So, but a good chance here for Devin Young here tonight too. I mean, to cut into that. Oh, we got one off the track. Jay Little.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Winslow, that was exactly what he could not have. Stays out there for another lap and gets maybe held up there a little bit by Jay Little. And that's exactly what Craig Jancic was avoiding by coming into the pits a little bit early. So, Winslow here trying to work the overcut and then pit a lap or two later than Jancic, and it could end up biting him in the butt here. And same thing for Madrigal, still out there about a second now behind Winslow here. As over in the M class, William Burrell still out there running his laps as well. When you look at Christian Ortiz Torres, he has got about a 4-second lead over Bryce Reiner, and that's the gap that you want to try and take a look at as Reiner was about to pass Burrell there for position. So this is the battle for the lead. Reiner certainly has a ton of speed, but he's got to keep the mistakes at bay. So we'll see what happens. But Winslow, Madrigal in the pits. Devin Young going to keep it out there for one more lap here and get a lap led here for the 15 team.
Yeah, he's got a chance here to boost himself up into the standings. With Peter Moore having issues, and Devin Young is, he's shown, he had the fastest lap of the race last week. Had some good speed, and I think he came away third last week. Is that right? I think in the pro class. But he's got a chance here to maybe at least get fourth and see what he can do in this last 10 minutes of this race. We'll see what's
here is how it shakes out, not to cut in here, but this is Winslow and Jancic. Winslow out of the pits now side by side with Jancic. Jancic's got the warmer tires, having already pitted, but Winslow trying to stay in there. Now Jancic cuts him off, but still fighting on the outside is Winslow. Jancic is gonna get the pass done, but right there, that little bit of hold up behind Jay Little could have been the difference here, and Winslow coming out in the lead. We'll take a look at that one more time as they came out of the pits. Right here is Jancic coming by, getting past Madrigal, but you see Winslow still not seeing him, but on the left of the screen right there, comes out, dives it in late, forces Jancic to keep it a little bit wider, and that was the battle that we've seen coming out of there. Very good battle. We'll take it now back live. And now Winslow has got to get those tires heated up as quick as possible and get them nice and sticky. And looks like he's doing a pretty good job right now. Still within a half a second as Devin Young should be coming in. And yes, he does indeed come in this time into pit lane. Doesn't look like anybody taking tires. Certainly don't need to on these quicker races here. But they do cool off a little bit. They cool off just a little bit. That little bit of time that you're not ripping around this track and you're in the pits and you're stationary, getting that car fueled, and it may take a lap for some of these cars to kind of fire those tires back up.
Yeah, looks like Devin Young's gonna come out here behind these guys. If he was like 7 seconds behind these guys battling, but yeah, we'll see if Colin can. He's gotta stay within this like at least a half a second bubble here. I mean, he can't. If Craig gets past, gets out of that bubble, it's smooth sailing from there, especially with the draft coming down that front stretch. But Colin's got to somehow keep it within this half-second bubble here and stay within that draft and see if he can muster up something here at the later part of this last minute or so of this race, and see if he can get a last minute pass.
But he can't be too eager through most of this track. There are, you know, quote unquote passing opportunities, but really the biggest passing opportunity is down there in turn 1. So he's just got to keep it clean. He's got to keep it on the track, and he's got to keep it close to that 3 all the way through here. And the one thing that's helping him out now is he doesn't have to look in his mirrors too much at Madrigal, who's dropped off about a little over a second now behind Winslow. So it's certainly one thing that he doesn't have to worry about as much as Jay Little off the track there right inside of these guys. But now you see him down here in the final hairpin again. This is where he's got to get a good launch out. It's where Jancic has been getting really good rotation and really good launch out of there, but it seems like maybe a little bit better there that time for Winslow. Keeps it close, keeps it under 4/10 coming through the final chicane. And you know, here's where he's got to keep it inside 4/10 coming out of this corner for any kind of chance. Good entry, good rotation through the corner if he can get all the power down. That was a pretty good turn right there for Winslow. Not sure if he's going to be close enough, but he's certainly going to force Jancic. You see him right there making an aggressive move, protecting that inside line.
Yeah, Craig knows he's right there too, so he's going to try to break that draft a little bit, or at least make Colin move the car around to make some moves as Colin gets him deep in there in turn 1.
And that's what he's got to do. He's just got to hang back there. I mean, Jancic has been fast all season. He was fast all last season as well, but he's not prone to mistakes. He has made his mistakes both last season and this season especially. So it can happen here. Winslow's just got to stick to his back bumper and keep nailing these corners like he's doing right now, and just keep hurrying that driver up. But he's going to have to hurry because Madrigal is starting to feel that Lamborghini once again, and now 0.7 of a second separating second from third.
Yeah, and Collins, he's like driving straight over that curve there, and I wonder if that's hindering him a little bit, because that's about where he starts to lose time. I mean, he was right up on there within a car length. Now it's about 2 car lengths, and I wonder if that's losing some of his momentum there. This is the part of the track where he's got to gain something. He's got to get back within a car link somehow to right through here, and then the final left-hander before he gets that straightaway. He's got to find some speed right through here.
And that's where it just seems like that Audi is just getting a really good launch out of the second hairpin there and through the S-turn. And it's enough to get a nice little gap now, over 0.6 of a second heading through the final hairpin. And Winslow's going to be able to use that draft to reel him back in here a little bit and get close again in turn 1, but it's still not going to be enough, and the time is ticking away, getting close to 5 minutes left in this race. And Joe, it's been a fun one so far, and I think it's about time to crank these boys up and give everybody out there in Sierra Nation, and they'd love to hear it.
Let's do it.
White flag in the air, one more lap to go. That was one last chance there for Winslow, so now he's going to have to get it done through the technical part of the track. He's certainly right there, gets it under 0.2 of a second, and still right there, still fighting, still battling, not letting Jansen get away from this thing. Madrigal's dropped off just a little bit, but again, through that corner right there, it seems like, yeah, he gets that curb, and it's helping him out, I think, a little bit. It's getting a little bit shorter right there. But right there goes a little bit wide entering, and that's going to leave him some time. He's got to try and fight back now. Already half of the lap complete here. He's got about 1.5 miles to get it done. Winslow has not letting Jansen go this entire race, and really neither has Madrigal. These have been the top 3 guys all race long, and really showing it all the way to the end here, all 40 minutes. And once again, these 40-minute races just buzz by, and they go by so quickly. And you wonder what might have been if it was another 5-10 minutes long. It's great racing, great battling all the way through, but it looks like Jansen has just got a couple more corners to get this thing done. Stretches out the lead now to 0.5 second. Heading in through the final corners, he's just got one more hairpin to go, and he's going to hold off a hard charging Winslow here tonight. And indeed he will, as long as he gets the power down. Craig and Jansen going to come out of the final corner, and he is going to be your winner tonight at Mugello. But not for a lack of effort from both Winslow and Madrigal are going to come home at second and third. And they will all certainly deserve their interviews here tonight. Halfway through the track, coming around the final corners now. Richard Cheese Toro is doing a great job out here tonight. As great qualifying, lost the lead a little bit early there to Reiner, to Reiner, but he has now come back and gotten the lead. He is going to be on the top step of the podium here tonight. Exactly what he needed in the points. He is going to come home your winner here in the AM class at Mugello. Another one that Bryce has got to be ruling, giving up a position here early, and he did it to himself. But he's going to come home in second place. Still a good finish overall, a good fight back. You remember he was back there in the 7th place in the AM class, so fights back to a second place here tonight. William Burrell, a great run here for the 21. He's going to come home in 3rd place as your podium finishers here tonight. But overall, I mean, a lot of these guys are doing a good job and finishing. We'll take a look back here, and did have an earlier incident between Morgan Smith and Randy Ayers. Wanted to bring this here in turn number 1, and it looks like Ayers just coming out of the pits and maybe trying to get to the inside there of Smith, and it didn't work out too well for both of them. And then Rara here at the end, looks like battling with your 3rd place finisher in the AM class, William Burrell, and just gets a little bit goosey. I think he's in the second or the same spot on the track that he spot before. But get a good look at the side of that 4D Corvette one more time. Not that we wanted to, but Joe. Mugello put on a pretty heck of a good performance, at least for the top 3 in the pro. I mean, the rest of the field kind of got spread out here a little bit, and didn't see too much racing action out there, but you can't say that for the top 3 in the pro class.
No, it's, I mean, they were, I think it could have went either way, just whoever had the track position there. They all had about the similar pace there, and I thought maybe Colin was going to be able to have something there at the end. He got a good run there in the first couple turns, and was right on Craig. I thought maybe we were going to see a late pass to the lead there in this race, but Craig was just had a little bit too much for him there at the end there, and I'm surprised. Well, I am surprised, but I'm not surprised that Bryce was able to come back up here and finish second after his mistake. And it looked like he was reeling in Christian, but then it got to that 4-second bubble, and then I don't know if Bryce just burned his tires off, or just didn't have enough left, or what happened there. But a good night for him to come back and finish second. But another win here for Christian Torres, and that's what he needed here tonight. John wasn't here. Bryce had his issues, so he's able to gain a little bit of spots, a little bit of points on Bryce, and we'll see where they end up for points as we go into the second part of the season here.
Yeah, I mean, Ortiz Torres doing a really good job in that second half, and really stretching out the lead by putting in some good quality laps. He ran some of his fast laps at the end of the race, which isn't surprising in the fact that it's when the fuel burns off these cars that they get faster naturally. But the tires are a little bit more worn towards the end of the race, and you still got to really put that hammer down and still get that grip when and where you need it. So good job there by Ortiz Torres, stretching it out there and showing that Reiner may have a good fast Ferrari, but Torres isn't just going to roll over and let both Reiner and Nominger stretch out this lead in the M class. He wants to throw his hat in the ring here and doing a good job grabbing the win. But we'll go ahead and and bring our guys in here for their interviews. Just trying to get one last driver in here. And it looks like, unfortunately, we won't be able to interview our third place finisher here tonight in the Pro Class, Saviani Madrigal. But we'll go ahead and start out with the second place finisher here in the Pro Class. And that is going to be the 19 of Colin Winslow. And Colin, man, I mean, you threw everything but the kitchen sink at Craig tonight. You did have the lead from him by for a couple laps there, but what a race, what a battle all the way to the end. I don't think you guys were separated by more than a second that entire race.
Yeah, fantastic race. To be honest, the whole time I'm thinking about how exciting it must have been for you guys. Just the battles that Craig and I had, the way we came out of the pits right beside each other, so much fun. Unfortunately for me, the Porsche just wasn't good in those hairpins. I just couldn't get it rotated, and that made the only passing zone on the track impossible. I just couldn't get enough exit out of the last turn. Which is
kind of surprising, because it seemed like as bad as you were in the hairpins, which we could see, because it seemed like he was always getting that power down, always stretching out there a little bit on you on that second hairpin. But it seemed like that Porsche was really rotating for you really nicely in the S-turns.
Yeah, and the Porsche could take a little bit different line than the Audi did. The Audi gets nice and rotated, but also the Audi wears those rears a lot more than the Porsche does. So that's why by the end of the race in those slower turns, Craig was definitely struggling a little bit more than I was. I just could not get the Porsche rotated enough to get the power down in those faster hairpins.
So I know you mentioned before, running behind Craig, he's fast, and he's a guy to beat in here, and you don't necessarily feel too bad by losing to him when he's got a fast race car on him tonight. But you weren't exactly slow here tonight, and you did not let him go all night. So I mean, are you happy with a second place, or are you pissed you just couldn't get that pass done one more time? You got it done on him early with the outside move, which was pretty fantastic through the first part of the track, but just couldn't get it done the second time.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely happy with second place. I mean, you can't not be happy with a podium. Obviously, I would want the win, but as far as tonight goes, I mean, I can't be dissatisfied with how good the racing was. So yeah, I'm walking away happy. Obviously, first would be better, but it's great to take home second, especially knowing how good the racing was tonight. And knowing, the reason Craig got the pass done so easily was that Audi was just so much better out of that last turn, and that leads you to the only passing zone on the track. So it's just I thought I was doing well just staying behind him.
Well, you did a good job, and you had one heck of a run here tonight. Whether they got you the top step or not, yeah, still a second place is got to feel good tonight. Good points night for you. And you head off into the second half of the schedule now, and again, you're not far out of the mix of things here heading into the second half. I mean, you come in here fourth place in points, but only 7 points behind Peter Moeller, who obviously didn't have a good night tonight, but only 5 points behind Craig coming in. So you may lose a little bit of ground to Craig, but I mean, all in all, I mean, the four of you guys at the top, and even throwing Devin Young in there in the top five. You guys have really shown to be the class of the field in the Pro Class. So as much as you're close, you're tight, how tough is it going to be to really gain a chunk of points on one another this season?
Oh, so tough. I mean, really, and it sounds bad, but you really got to hope that something like what happened to Peter tonight happens to the other three guys that are up there at the top. But yeah, the racing's so close. I mean, I feel like from the start of the season, it feels like the top five at least are never separated by more than like 10 seconds. The racing has been so good this season.
Well, racing certainly from the 19 and the 3 and the 8 here tonight has been fantastic, and you guys were certainly the showcase event here tonight. So congratulations on being part of the showcase, but really getting another podium here under your belt, another good finish here tonight. Unfortunately, just not enough to get Craig, but you'll let him have this one, and I'm sure you'll go at him again next week. So we'll certainly look forward to that. But before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
For sure. I definitely will call it. I let him have it. But yeah, no, shout out to Craig and Civ. Both drove fantastic races, and they're the reason that this league is so fun. So, and shout out Peter and Devin too. They make every race a ton of fun. So.
Well, we'll let you go prepare for this second half and make a run at this championship. But good run here tonight. Go ahead and celebrate it, and we'll make sure Craig knows that you let him have this one.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night, boys.
You too, buddy. As your second place finisher in the pro class, the 19 of Colin Winslow. Winner here tonight in the pro class. Trying to get this up. I'm not sure why the standings want to come up as well, but first place in the pro class and overall is going to be the 3 of Craig Jancic. And Craig, we'll obviously give you some time to give your thanks at the end, but it sounds like you need to give a thanks certainly to Colin Winslow, because he said he'd let you have this one here tonight. He felt bad for you, wanted to see you at the top side of the podium again. So it could have been a lot different, but what a heck of a race by the top 3 of you guys here tonight. I mean, throughout the whole race, I don't think the top 3 was separated by 2 seconds.
I'd believe that. I feel like old Colin, my good man, gave you a little bit of a line. I don't know who the concoctor is here. Maybe it was him. Maybe
Possibly.
it was you, Joe. I hear you back there.
Possibly, but we're gonna play it.
Hey, man, look. He definitely told me at one point that he was kind of points racing a little bit. Me, him, Civ, and Peter just happened to be top 4 in the championship, and Peter had his misfortunes here tonight, and the 3 of us were actually able to take really, really unfortunate for him, but advantage for us of that. What a race, man. Colin and we have been saying for, I don't know, I think Colin's done, I think this is his 3rd season. He started like halfway through a couple seasons ago. We've been waiting to have a battle, a hard fought fight for quite some time. And man, we finally got one tonight with those, not only with the pass, on lap, what was that, 5, 6 maybe, but then the pit exit merge was crazy too. So kudos to him. Really hard fought racing, and really great job by all the competitors out here tonight, man.
Yeah, I just got a couple of questions for you, Craig. So the first couple of laps, you were in there behind Colin, and I could tell you were trying to set something up there into turn 1. Was that the plan? I mean, that's eventually where you end up getting the pass done. But was you working on stuff right there to see what would work and what wasn't going to work?
Absolutely, yeah. Here's the thing. Porsche's severely down on top end speed right now. So I knew that I was working with that in my back pocket. Then whether it was him or the Porsche, I'm not sure, but he was lights out through the whole first sector. And if I could get him a little bit off that line, even for more than just through the first chicane, what's realistically turns 2 and 3, it takes so much of his advantage away, so that by the time the following lap comes around, I wouldn't be down 4 or 5 tenths just because of the Porsche's first sector advantage. So I was absolutely working something into turn 1. If I could exit, and I know I did it, I think 3 total times, if I could exit turn 1 with at least a fender in his inside, I knew that I was probably going to have a good chance. Audi powers up really nice, and if I was to give him just enough room to maybe run the risk of him hitting one of those sausages on the inside of any of those chicanes, even though he could split it in the Porsche, because that's fair anyway, with hitting it one time, I was able to clear him on lap 5 or 6, and then I just had a much better run out of the first chicane on our pit exit merge that I was able to clear him that way. So I absolutely knew that with how much time I lost from the Porsche's first sector advantage, I spent the whole rest of the lap gaining it back. So if I could clear him in the first sector, I knew I'd be pretty good.
And my second question here is like, was your pit entry like was that was lap traffic play into that? Like, at some point, you guys were going to probably, because Colin and Siviani ended up catching Jay Little there. Was that a determining factor to short pit there?
100%. Yeah. After what happened to us last week, I wasn't running that risk again, and I know that there was a little bit of a something that Colin was mentioning that may have cost him a tenth or two. Granted, I almost spun the thing on my own pit exit lap, so it ended up coming out in the wash, and we were right next door again. But it was 100% of my decision was because of the pending lap traffic on that lap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head. I knew you guys were you were catching the tail end of the field there, and you kind of want to avoid any of those, not necessarily slow down spots, but like, a tenth or two can cost you. It's so tight with you guys there right there. I mean, before Peter had his troubles there in Pineda, I mean, there was 4 of you guys right there, 5 of you guys right there, and really it was just, I think it was down to track position. It was kind of tough to pass here unless you got a good run down at that straightaway, but I think it could have flipped either way. It was just how you guys had track position and qualifying here, because you guys were, similar pace. Siviani was just back there, just watching you guys. Does what he does on a weekly basis, just being smooth back there and attacking when he can. So it was really close, and it was real fun watching you guys battle it. And Colin gave it everything he had there on that last lap. It looked like he was right there on that bumper, and he just kind of didn't anticipate your braking there, and I think he lost a little bit. And after that, it was just kind of smooth sailing for you.
He let him have it. We already talked to him. He said he let him have it.
Yeah, we already established that. Honestly, a big thing for me: control the controllables. I can control the lap that I pit at, and I cannot control what the lap traffic's going to do. I paid that price last week, and I figured that my lap traffic tax is good for the season. And now I'll be able to, I'll be a little bit wiser to things like that. Now, granted, last week there was really no way to predict that was going to happen. And this week it was so like it was such a good decision on paper, and then I almost spun it on the in the last corner. Coming out on my out lap, and I thought I was going to throw the whole thing away, and Colin was going to be able to clear me, and I was going to have to set it all up again, but this time with worse tires. So it was going to be really, really hard to recover, but we were able to do it this time. I can't say enough to what Siviani's able to do. He's like a silent killer, man. He just lurks, and the whole time I was so nervous that he was going to save gas behind us. And be able to just overtake us, but I don't know if he didn't save enough, or if that just wasn't on his MO, and he really was just kind of hampered by the pace there. I feel like the Huracan probably got really tight over the course of the run, so that probably hurt him too.
Yeah, so last question for you here. You guys, this is your 3rd win on the season out of 6 races. It's close in points. What is it like, or what's it going to take for the rest of the season to come away with the championship? As tight as it is with the 4 or 5 of you guys here in the points and racing each other each and every week, what is that like to show up here on Wednesday nights and know that you have to be on your stuff? Like, you cannot make any kind of mistake.
That's exactly it. It's mistake management at this point. There is a chance. I can't do the math quick in my head because that's just not me when I'm all amped up after a win like this. But there's a chance that we're 3-way tied for the top, which would be crazy. And I really like that heading into a track that I really like this week. And then a week after that, my ultimate favorite track and car combo, GT3 at Road America. I have that circled, italicized, bolded, highlighted, you name it. I really, really, really gotta take advantage of how much I love and drive that combo. Next week is good, not great, but I've got Road America circled in 2 weeks tonight.
It's going to be fun to watch. It's been fun since we jumped on board with you guys, but it's getting now that we got more and more guys up at the top here and battling for wins, and and everything. It gets spread out with that, and it's funner to watch and broadcast. So it's gonna be fun to watch these next couple of races and see who can come away with some wins and ultimately this pro championship.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love the intensity, the drama. Who needs NASCAR playoffs when you've got CSRL GT3s Wednesday night on Core Racing Network?
Well, I got my Wednesday nights highlighted. I got on the calendar. I mean, it's there. So I'm pumped for these Wednesday nights to watch you guys race, and it's so fun with the battles that you guys have on track, with whether it's you and Colin, or Colin and Civ, or you and Civ, or whoever the case may be, or Peter. A couple weeks ago he got a win, so it's getting, wins are coming for everybody, and the podiums are coming for everybody, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So, but you get your third one on the season. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, quick thanks to you guys, Core Racing Network. Amazing stuff. Can't wait to watch this one back, just like every other one. Thanks to everybody that supports me, Team Conti, Digital Sim Sports. Thanks to the admins here at CSRL, by the way. Great group of guys. So lucky to be hand in hand with them. But also back to Freebrew and Hot Wings Morning Show. Gosh, the whole litany is escaping me right now. Some Magic, Best Peripherals, all that good stuff. Thanks to all the viewers out there as well. Mom, Dad, Auntie, Anna, everybody that watches and supports me. Thanks, all of y'all. And yeah, we'll keep this energy and spirit going forward, man. Thanks so much for what you guys do. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. This has been a blast. So let's get out of here and celebrate, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, brother. Take care.
Yes, sir.
That's your winner here in the pro class, the 3 of Craig Jansing. And before we get to the M class here, I'm sensing possibly a rough 2 weeks here for Craig Jansing, because I did not hear him thank the 19 team there. I didn't hear him thank Colin Winslow for the win here tonight, and he put a lot of pressure on himself for Road America. So, I mean, the pressure is on these next 2 weeks for sure. We'll see if anything transpires from that. But let's go ahead and switch over now to the AM class. And first one we're going to bring in here, third place, William Burrell. And William, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm seeing that your best finish this season was a 7th place. I thought we seen you up there in the top 5 at one point or another, but I mean, I'm seeing 7th place as your best finish this season. So what was it about the track here tonight? Was it, just fitting your eye? Was it just letting everything come to you? I mean, you had a pretty fast Porsche out there coming home in third tonight.
I've raced this track before in an endurance race, just within iRacing, and so I kind of knew the track a little bit. But this is the first time with the GT3s, and I just felt pretty consistent on the track. I felt good as soon as we started. Didn't have a lot of practice today with the Porsche. I usually run the Corvette, and figured I'd try the Porsche this time, and it just felt good. Everything seemed to line up. I was, just trying to stay consistent and keep hitting my marks, and that's kind of what worked for me today.
Well, I mean, I'm not your crew chief, I'm not your team owner, but I feel like the Porsche's got to come out a second time now and see if this was just a one-time fluke, or if this is the new car choice for you.
Well, it might be. I want to thank a few guys while I got a minute.
Absolutely.
Jim Dunn for inviting me into the league. Jim Herrick, who put my logos and livery on my car. I appreciate that, and he's with 4D Racewear. And oddly enough, Austin Neal, he's running in the pro class, and I met him through Simcraft, and he's kind of coached me quite a bit, and Simcraft as well for putting a simulator together for me.
Well, once again, congrats on grabbing your first podium here on the season. But is there any other tracks on the second half of this schedule here that you're looking forward to maybe grabbing another podium?
No, honestly, I'm just taking them one by one, and hopefully I can finish near the top. My goal is a top 10 finish in the league in the M division, and hopefully I can achieve that.
Well, it's certainly a good outlook to have for sure. So we'll let you go celebrate this first podium of the season. Hopefully it's not the last time we talk to you, but certainly take some time to celebrate this, and we'll see you next week at Imola.
Will do. Thank you very much.
That is your third place finisher in the AM class at 21 of William Burrell. Second place, Joe, why don't you go ahead and take the 24 of Bryce Reiner?
Hey there, Bryce. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, another mistake here cost you. It looks like it's going to cost you a win. Kind of talk us through your night here.
I to say the least, it wasn't awful. Definitely could have done better. Trying to stay more consistent for sure. I picked the Ferrari because I just felt like I'm the most comfortable with that. And I've tested with that multiple times. So I was like, it'll be good. And I know the Ferrari is very finicky and very loose in the back end, especially if you get off the racing line, and you try to get the power down, it just takes off from you. So start of the race wasn't too bad, going through the pack, staying behind Skyler. Staying behind Skyler was nice. We were catching Frank in front of us. And then I don't know if it was the dirty air or the way I took the corner. I just kind of slipped up and lost it. But it sucked. But overall, not a bad race for me.
Yeah, we were we caught that on the broadcast, and we were wondering if we know you're fast, you got speed, and we were wondering if you were going to be able to come back and maybe get onto the podium, or even as fast as you are, you could have got to the maybe got back to the lead for the M class there. You fall a little bit short there. You got it within a little under 4 seconds to Christian. And it looked like you maybe were gaining on him, but then it just kind of the tires go away there the last couple minutes, where you didn't have anything left.
I think I tried to undercut Christian as much as I could with the drafting on the straightaway. Since he was alone, I was trying to use the car in front of me to bring me closer to him, and then also Christian. And then I wanted to pit an extra lap beforehand, but I chose not to. So I pitted with Christian. I gained some time, I believe, in the pit road. That's why the lead went down from 7 or 8, I think, to roughly around 4 or 5. And I started gaining because I had Morgan in front of me, I believe, to help me as well. And then once those last, I think, 4 or 5 laps, mentally, I was like, I can't make up 4 seconds within 4 laps. So I kind of backed it off and just rode my race to the end to keep that second position for me.
Yeah, because I mean that at that point that's a lot to try to overcome, and like you said, there's real no point in pushing it. At best case scenario, Christian makes a mistake and you're there to capitalize. Because that's just
exactly.
There's not enough time. I mean, even if you were faster than him, you're not like a second per lap faster. I mean, that'd be a crazy pace.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a mental thing too, to make sure if you're not fast, don't push it. I mean, I could probably get in the mindset, but I think in the beginning of the race, I don't like to push it too much, but I also like to want to keep a car distance between me and the guy in front of me too, just to stay with him, I guess. But
well, it's going to be fun to watch the rest of the season with you, Christian, and John wasn't here tonight, but you three battling for the championship. We got 4 races left here. Some couple good tracks coming up, so we'll see how any of those tracks that you're going to be looking forward to. Craig's pretty pumped about Road America. Is that one of your tracks you like?
I have none of the tracks in my account, so I'm going to have to get them started next week and kind of test on them. I don't know. They're all kind of up there. They're all fast, I believe. But I think the season finale, I think I'm ready for. I think that's one I could do really well in. Maybe Road Atlanta. But I just gotta put a whole clean race together. Painting these cars, making cool schemes for myself. I just hate screwing it up and spinning out. But hopefully we can put a race together, have a nice car at the end, and go for the win.
All right. Well, congrats on the second. Anybody want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Christian. Christian, even though I wasn't close to him, he ran a clean race and stayed consistent and didn't make a mistake like I did. Props to him. Props to you guys up in the booth, Carl, Joe. You guys do a tremendous job with CSRL and all the broadcasting that you do over on the other league races as well. Appreciate everything, and we'll get after it next week.
All right, well, congrats, and go celebrate, and we will see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
That is your second place finisher in the AM Class 24 of Bryce Reiner. Last but not least is your winner here in the AM Class. And Christian, a good run here for you tonight. Obviously, a great qualifying effort. You lose the lead right off the bat to Bryce, but you kind of just hung in there, and he's been prone to mistakes lately, and you capitalized on it here tonight. It seemed like once you had the lead, you were good and comfortable, but you always had to kind of be looking in the mirror, looking at that relative back to Reiner as he finally made his way up to second place. But once you made up to second, you kind of put the hammer down and you started putting in some really good laps to finish this thing out.
Yes, definitely. Thanks to the quali, I did not expect to quali at the front for the AM class, and thanks to that, though, I think that's what helped a lot. At the first lap, I did lose a few spots, but as we were going through the race, we were able to just keep a safe pace. I think we learned from the last race that if we try to push hard, sometimes we just end up in the sand.
Well, I mean, it's been a really good, consistent season for you here this season, and you grab now your first win on the, or actually a second win on the season, tying you with both Nobinger and Bryce there. So all three of you guys seem to be the class of the field. I mean, Avendano Diaz, when he's here, he's certainly got some speed as well, and Jim Herrick, you know, he's maybe just haven't had any kind of tracks that suited his eye yet, but he's certainly got some pace in the 40 once he shows up. But you three have been the class of the field here this season, and typically we see good finishes from you. Maybe, you know, not always the fastest out there on the track, but you're always up there in the podium, always up there in the top five at the very least, and it's consistency that's keeping you up there. But tonight you get it down at the top as well.
Yeah, I think today was definitely keeping it consistent and also just safe throughout the race. I also kind of improved my turn 8, turn 9, and that helped a lot. But yeah, it is exciting to come back every Wednesday and race against competitive guys. So it keeps me going, keeps me wanting to come back and try hard.
Yeah, well, wins and being up there in the points, for some reason, it gets you a little pumped up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, once again, congrats on the win out here tonight. And like I said, I mean, it wasn't for lack of pace. I mean, it was good to see you up there on top of the boards for qualifying as well, and really stamping your name out there. So whether it was a track that fit your eye, or maybe you're starting to really feel the championship push here as we're in the middle of the season here. But 4 races to go. Again, it seems like a 3-horse race to the end here. What's it going to take? Is it just going to take some more consistency? You think it's going to take another run at a win or two before this thing ends out?
Yes, consistency and a lot of practice.
Well, so far so good. It's paying off for you. So, like I said, congrats on the win here tonight, and we'll see if you can get up there and join us on the podium next week, or maybe even grab a back-to-back win here at Imola next week. But take some time, enjoy this one, celebrate. But before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout-out to or thanks to?
Shout-outs to my girlfriend, Brooke, my family in Denver, the CFG racing guys, and you guys and everybody who's part of this.
Well, thank you again for the shout-outs, and it's been fun watching you all season. We'll see what you can do for the last 4 races, but for the time being, like I said, celebrate this win.
All right, thank you guys.
Is your winner here in the AM class, Christian Ortiz Torres in the 11, grabbing his second win, and like I said, 6 races on the season. We've got 3 guys with 2 wins in the AM class, so a little bit of both in both the pro class and the AM class. The pro class, maybe 5 drivers thrown in the mix, but certainly 3 guys really throwing their names in the hat here in the AM class. But Joe, storylines, it's kind of what we come here for. It's kind of what we live on week to week here in CSRL.
Exactly. I mean, and these guys in the AM class, I mean, you can't get much more level than that, you know what I'm saying? Like 6 races and 2 wins each, and and all of them showing speed. You know, John wasn't here tonight. John's missed, like, I think the opening race and then this race. So, but he'll be back next week, I'm sure, and make these last 4 races as tight as he can for the rest of these guys and see what he can do. But I mean, a few things have changed after this week, but not really. As we go forward here, I know it wasn't the greatest night for Peter, coming as your pro leader, but so that'll shake things up a little bit. But as far as the points as the rest of these guys, I mean, it's still going to be pretty tight with everybody, you know. So it's going to be fun to see who can keep stacking up these podiums and you know, getting these points. And it's good for Christian. I mean, the guy is, I mean, just consistent, like you said, each week in and week out. But now he's gotten to that next level that, you know, I bring up from time to time, where you get the top 10s, you get the top 5s. Now he's up to the level where he's getting to be a consistent winner. And, you know, it's now, can he just keep stacking that up and being up at the top of the AM class week in and week out?
Well, we got a couple choices, as the travel from Imola to next week track is not that far, as the drivers next week they'll be full of baloney as we head to Bologna, Italy, and certainly, you know, I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but yeah, we're going to be heading over to Imola for next week, and again, a track that these drivers may be familiar with, but maybe not having that much time on the track, and, you know, hearing Bryce Reiner having to purchase the track before you even get there and get some time in, but just a short 1.5 hour drive, or you can even take the train from there. It looks like it only costs $11 from Mugello to Imola. So we'll have to figure out if one of us is going to get behind the wheel, which is always a little sketchy. But if not, we'll hop on board that train. Maybe enjoy a little first class train experience heading from Mugello over to Imola. But we hope all of you do as well, and join us next week. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. Join the CRN Nation, and I mean, just catch all the great racing action week in and week out. And whether it's, you know, here at CSRL, whether it's in Core, whether it's in Mars, there's so many different series that we cover, and all of them produces great racing. But just like every week, Joe, I'm already ready for next week at Imola. So
yes, please. We got to get more people watching this race. I mean, these races are phenomenal, and we need. I just feel bad for the people who aren't watching it, because you're missing out on some great racing from these guys.
Once again, thank you.
Share with somebody.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, share, subscribe, everything like that, and hit that bell if you want to get notified every time that CRN is live. Thank you to our sponsor here tonight in the series, and that is Skyler Vickroy. And make sure you go ahead and watch this race back from his point of view and see how the Corvette ran around the Mugello circuit here tonight. Checking him out at youtube.com/AVOVOOM Gaming, or check him out over there on Twitch with the same handle, AVOVOOM. That is going to do it for myself here and Joe at the beautiful Mugello circuit as the sun sets here on the track. We will see you next week at Imola, and it's going to be good. Again, 5 guys battling real hard for the championship in the Pro, 3 in the AM class. But for myself and Joe here at Mugello, we'll see you at the track.